What's up YouTube? So I'm back with another video, and this one I'm going to be talking about it from the comfort of my own desk because I've gotten a lot of questions about my Tesla financing video that I've made in the past. If you haven't seen that video yet, go ahead and watch it, and I'll link it wherever it comes up here because I'm going to be piggybacking off of that video to answer some of the questions that I've received. So some of the questions are exactly how I got financed through my bank. Also, what actually happens after you put your initial deposit down for the Tesla, such as like when do you actually put down how you're purchasing the vehicle, and also when you would tell Tesla that you plan to use a grant for your Tesla purchase. So basically what happens after you put your initial deposit down is you just have to wait until that it gets closer to that delivery date time that they estimated when you put your order in. From that time, you won't really hear much until about a week before. A week before, you'll usually get a text message from your advisor at Tesla. They'll say, hey, your car is estimated to be delivered within a week or so. Go finish your application as to how you're going to pay for the car. And so in this segment is where you actually get to choose how you're going to purchase your car, whether it be through the bank, whether it be through Tesla itself, or whether you're just going to pay that cash and just give them that check and don't even think about it again. So in this segment, you could also, if you're going to buy through your bank or if you're going to buy through Tesla itself, this is where you get to put your direct deposit down and say how much you actually want the loan to be for. So you'd put, say, $12,000 down, and you'd want the loan to be the rest of the amount of the car. And then that's the number that you put in for Tesla or for the bank. And speaking of the direct deposit, this is also where you would tell the Tesla advisor that you plan to use the grant for your direct deposit, because like I said in my other video, if you want to use this grant, then you have to use it as a direct deposit only and before you purchase the vehicle. So this is where you would let the Tesla advisor know that, or you can even let them know before you place your order, just so that they are fully aware of your situation. So now I'm going to go a little bit more in depth about the actual financial process when you're buying the car through the bank. So when you're buying through the bank and you already have an idea of how much money that you want to get loaned out through that bank. So for example, myself, I was going to put a $12,000 deposit down outside of the loan that I was going to get from the car. So I put that I was going to put $12,000 down, and you pay that amount at that time, like a week before you go and you actually get your Tesla delivered. So you pay that direct deposit down, and then you basically just wait until that text tells you, hey, your delivery appointment is this day, come pick up the car. And at that time is when you take either the rest of the money in cash or however you plan to pay for it. So if you got the loan through the bank, you get that check from the bank and you take that to Tesla when you are getting your delivery. They usually have like a little tent where you go, you take the check to them, your ID and all that personal information that they ask for. They'll send you a text as to what is required, or also when you're putting the deposit down, I believe it tells you what to bring for your delivery day. And then, so that is that. You give them the money and the car is paid for. So now I'm going to go in a little bit more detail about the actual getting my loan through my bank, because that's what I did. And I also had some people ask me questions about that. And the way that works is just a very simple application that we filled out online through the Schools First website. Keep in mind, the process might be a little bit different if you go through your own Schools First or you go through another bank. But my process was fairly simple because I was already banking with them. So for Schools First, as you see on this page, you literally just go to your Schools First and you write that you want a loan, and it'll show you all the different kinds of loans you can get, but we obviously are looking for a vehicle loan. And you go for apply now, and it'll tell you the lowest interest rate at that time. So right now, I guess it's even lower for 2.44%. Given that it depends as to how long you take that loan out for. If you take your loan out for a shorter amount of time, such as over a period of 3 years, 4 years, whatever, the lower the amount of time that you take that loan out for, that you usually pay less interest. On that application, it'll ask you for your job title, how often you work, what your salary is, what is your current living situation, and it'll also ask you how much you typically pay for housing. Reason being is because they want to see how much money you are currently paying to actually live, and then how much, if you can afford to add this car loan on top of that. And at this time, if you want a cosigner, then that's where you would put in whoever the co-signer is. Keep in mind, if you are a first-time car buyer, banks usually have a first-time car buyer option, or not option, it's kind of their go-to if you are in fact a first-time car buyer. Problem with that is that their interest rates they have special interest rates, and they are usually much higher because it is in fact your first time taking out a car loan. So in my previous video, I said that I included my mom, and the reason for that was because my mom had already had a car loan. It wasn't her first car, so I technically, when I purchased this car, even though I was the primary person responsible for this car, I was not given that 5-point-something% APR because my mom was a co-signer. So they gave me whatever the rates were at that current time, which is what I ended up getting, which was the 2.74% APR. So if you're a first-time car buyer, that is something to look into. Maybe seek out somebody who will be willing to help you in that way. That they, for example, if it isn't their first time buying a car, and if they're willing to help you that way, definitely do that because it will save you a lot of interest on that vehicle. So I'll give you a little bit of background. I have very good credit, and my mom has superior credit. It's higher than mine. So that's why we were approved for such a good rate. I currently have some debt from school. It isn't too much, and it's the only debt I have. So keep in mind that they also look for how much debt you actually have as well, because that also plays a factor. And all this at the same time, they run your credit score. From there, the bank processes your application, and it literally took less than a day. I got the email saying that I had been approved later on that same day. And from there, they'll usually tell you whether you were approved for that loan amount that you wanted, or they'll counter you with an offer like, sorry, we won't give you $42,542, but we will give you $35,000. And from there, you kind of have to figure out how you will pay for the rest of the car, how they'll make up for that difference. And once you're approved, it really depends on the bank and how they want verification that you're actually buying a car. So for Tesla, it's kind of tricky because you don't really have a VIN. I believe all you have is a motor vehicle purchase agreement. So what I decided to do was, because after I was approved, I have a month to actually purchase the car. So as you get closer to your delivery day, they will actually tell you your VIN, like, hey, the car that's going to be delivered is this VIN. And then once I got that VIN, I sent that to my bank and I let them know it was a Tesla. And so they should be at this point kind of more familiar as to how Tesla works and how VINs aren't assigned until you're basically going to receive the car. So I let them be aware of that, and after I got that VIN, I sent it to them, and I just went in that same day that I bought my Tesla, or that I picked up the Tesla. I went in a couple hours before. They gave me a check, and from that check, I just took that check to Tesla and I gave it to them, and they took care of that. The last way you can buy the car is through a Tesla loan itself. So I was denied for the loan, but the Tesla loan is pretty similar in that you tell them how much you actually want the loan for, and so you basically just have to subtract your direct deposit from what loan you actually need. And then Tesla will take a couple days, and they will send your application to pretty much their partner banks, and then they will reach out to you and tell you whether you were approved or not approved. And to add, when you're doing the Tesla loan, and if you need a cosigner, you basically just write down, it's like you're writing down another applicant. So it has a spot for you to write your information down, and they do a credit check. And then on top of that, you just add the other applicant. It doesn't necessarily say cosigner, it just says second applicant. And then from there, it's pretty much the same information as the first applicant, and you send that information all in one application, and then they'll get back to you as to if you're approved or not. If that doesn't work, like I said earlier in the video, try to find someone who would be willing to help you that also has really good credit or has purchased a car before, that will help you buy the car. Because like I said in the other video, sometimes it doesn't really depend as to how much you actually make or anything like that. It just really depends as to if you've bought a car or not, if you bought a house or not, if you have a history of taking out huge loans. If you don't have that history, banks might be a little bit more hesitant to, or might lean more towards rejecting you. So that is just a little tip that can help. But if you found any use in this video, I would really appreciate a thumbs up, and go ahead and click that subscribe. I try to come up with lots of different kinds of videos about Tesla, not only from the actual buying experience, but also from the actual Tesla itself, how it drives, what to look forward to. I appreciate the support and see you guys later.